Hey, just want to kind of get some more eyeballs on this to see if there's something we can collectively advocate for as tapping into the power of open source and communities has told us in the past um, that when the community wants something and we collaborate, work together, things can happen. So this is regarding graphical remote login, and I'm on the Gnome GitLab here. And this is something that a lot of people have been wanting for a while. It has some technical hurdles that I want to briefly speak to. So basically, it should be possible, using like almost like a user story, it should be possible for a user to use GNOME Remote Desktop to log in remotely using the GDM login screen. Logging in should either take over an existing physical session or create a new headless session, one that either can turn into a physical one or one that is intended to be only remote. I don't know about the second part, that they can turn into a physical one or whatever, but I think the first half is what I want to focus on is remotely log in using GDM login screen. So what that looks like is I use Remna or I use whatever RD remote access tool to uh, visually log into my system, and I am, instead of jumping right into my session, if the screen is locked, or if this my system is on the first, it rebooted and I forgot to log in, um, and I go to access it, instead of like telling me that the session's not accessible because there's a login screen in front of it, it would just show me the login screen, and then I'll put in my password again, and then I'll log in my session. So whether it's I'm accessing the physical session or headless, if the GNOME session is not active or open, and I have to go through GDM login screen, I just go through GDM login screen. GDM login screen should not be a barrier for me to access my machine remotely. If anything, it's a secondary security measure. Um, because what some people are doing is they're turning GDM off so that it's when if the computer is on, you're logged in, and this is one way people bypass the login screen requirement. So um, again, I don't really care too much about the second session that you could turn into a physical and whatever, but whether it's headless or you're tapping into the physical session that's there, uh, I think it is worth whatever heavy lift is required to go through to get this working and to get this something that users can remotely access their machine even if they're not logged in. A lot of people have things where after 15, 20 minutes, whatever the time limit is, of not touching the machine, you get logged out. Not logged out, but it gets locked. So whether it's the lock screen or the login screen, I should be able to touch my machine and remotely. So he says depends on 91 and 90, but there's a huge back and forth on like some of the bottlenecks and some of the issues regarding this. And this, I'll be honest, this is over my head, but um, I know if there's a will, there's a way, and some people are already drafting up potential solutions, and it's just a matter of getting this bumped up in priority and um, kind of grabbing the right people to work on this and seeing how this can happen. You know, so this is support hybrid headless head full sessions. This goes back to the hybrid piece where it's logged, physical or not. Will happen after 90 to launch fully remote headless Gnome session that uses Gnome remote desktop for access and support headless sessions. So usually Gnome is not really being thought of as like a server type thing. So it's really for desktop use, and personally might be more appropriate if it's, you know, a physical session, but some people rather have the virtual session or headless session, where if let's say you're in an apartment and you have your laptop out on your kitchen and you're trying to remotely access your machine from home, um, it's nice to have headless sessions because then your screen at home wouldn't just like randomly turn on, and then your roommate who's grabbing lunch is just looking at everything you're doing. So it's it's great to have both, um, but I think personally, and you guys let me know what you think. I buy a hair. I'd rather have the physical because I think that allows for more support scenarios if you're supporting a family member in their Linux journey, if you're doing stuff for yourself, you can pick up right where you left off and continue your work that way. But I definitely see the benefit of headless sessions in general. But um, yeah, there's some things about mutter that's kind of has to be accounted for. Um, and yeah, you know, we know that Wayland is not really something that's, taking this on. So if people are expecting this to be a Wayland as a whole nother thing, I think for the most part people are knowing that this probably would have to happen in X11 first, just for the sake of like the code that's already there. Um, but yeah, so if you use Gnome and you want to be able to log in um, your session without having to do some wonky workaround, you don't want to use, proprietary software like, AnyDesk or TeamViewer, and you just want to work. You want to be able to grab your machine from home and do it in a secure way. I think this is something that's worth pursuing. And out of all the things I've seen in terms of like issues, like has 16. I think this on the higher end. When you look at other issues and you see like people who put thumbs up, it's like I rarely see anything over 5. Trying to think. Let's see something that's old. Add Spice backend, multi-monitor support. This is the us we're talking about here. Yeah, like I think this is the one that has the most upvotes. This one has 10. It's related to what we're talking about. So yeah, so it seems like people want this, and it'd be great if we can, if you know how to solve for this or have a workaround that could turn into a permanent solution. I think we need to go to gitlab.gnome.org, you know, tag on these things, get involved, um, hit up, the Gnome IRC, and just start conversations. I think it's really important that we get this going, because it just makes sense. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and if you're interested in collaborating on this, let me know because I don't mind helping out with coordinating. And whatever way I can help push this forward. And if you have ideas on how to push this forward, let me know. I'd be glad to get the ball rolling on this. Have a great one. See ya.